It's a youth day today, and all over the nation, there's celebrations to the effect that back in 1994, a year when we as South Africans, Black South Africans, had the privilege to vote for the first time. And we look back from 1994 back to 1976, and we look to find that June 16 was a day in which the seed of our emancipation and freedom the seed was sown. And we find out that part of the energies that gave the national contours and that gave the national liberation struggle contours and direction, those energies came from the youth. So you could say that the youth are credited to having done something of substance for the nation. And therefore, the question would be, will always arise, what is the youth of today going to achieve? What's our next milestone for the youth to achieve? So I'm speaking to you as a pastor today, and I'm going to draw a lot of my input from business, from politics, and I'm going to be really doing public speaking to some degree, within the parameters of preaching, which means preaching will be because that's my task, that's my goal. I'll be coming from a preaching perspective. Now, the question is always asked, in business school, they taught us a lot of things, and they said something very important at business school. They said, the 21st century, and if you are, so I want to talk to you on the subject of preparation, to prepare you for greatness. So that's my title, to prepare you for greatness. But then it's going to feed into how people are now trained to survive and not to thrive. So when I prepare you for greatness, I want to move you from a mentality of survival into a mentality of thriving. To thrive is to make it big, is to hit the goal, is to hit the oil, those oil miners back in different countries that find oil, is to find something that has been hidden below the surface and hit it big, and for you to survive and go on to thriving. Somebody said about 21st century organizations, it says, number one, we need relentless innovation. So when they say a relentless innovation, which means the focus falls on the word relentless, that word which means ever happening, to innovate. To innovate is to come up with new solutions. And the reason why we come up with new solutions is because the world that existed, particularly pre-COVID, is not there anymore. It's another world now. We need new solutions. And we have found out during COVID that certain things we have had to change how we do church, our emphasis, how people do work, they work from home, and the stresses that come. Managerial approach has got to change. Big companies, big corporates that have invested in buildings are rethinking the strategy, whether working from home is the best strategy, are changing. They say Google has saved about $1 billion, which in South African rand is almost 15 billion rand of savings for flights and for buildings, office space. People who rather work from home. So we need relentless innovation, number one. That's what you're growing up to as young people. Number two is you need to be purposeful. So we need to have purpose in life and purposeful and know this is what I'm about. Now, purposeful is going to demand of you three things, being purposeful. Number one is going to demand you to get in a relationship with God, because He's the one who gives purpose. Number two, if God has ordained something for you to happen, nobody can stop you from it. So a close relationship with God keeps you within purpose. So it's being purposeful. And number three, He gives you a purpose for a people, which means you need to serve your generation. The third one is passion for growth. You must have passion. That word passion means you must be highly excited about being informed. Part of my presentation, of course, is going to talk about the value of curiosity, what it means to be curious. Curious, not in a sense of a negative trait, but curiosity to learn. Keep on learning. Keep on asking questions. Go to people who are your mentors and people who have gone the road before you. Keep on asking questions. Be curious. How does this work? Why did you do that? What happened when you mixed A, B, C, and D? So you need to have passion for growth, and growth is going to come through knowing the right group of people and staying in the right group of people in the right circles, and it's very important. And it's very important. The next one is, somebody said something very important, and this is what they said. And Steve Jobs, as a matter of fact, the late partner in Apple that produced iPhones, okay, he said, great things in business are never done by one person. They are done by a team of people. So you want to find yourself in the right team, with team of thinkers, team of people who speak your language, people who go where you're going. You don't want to put your life in the hands of people who don't know what they're doing, and that way you will never thrive. You'll always survive. So you need to find people, and I pray that as we make the presentation, you find people that are of like mind and who think the same as you. Somebody said, talking about passion for growth, somebody said, as a matter of fact, is James Penny, says, growth is never by mere chance, okay? It is a result of forces working together. He says growth is not chance. You can't just wake up tomorrow, then you're growing. It's a result of forces working together, which means your forces of the relationships that you have, your learning capacity, your curiosity, being found in the right place, talking to God. All of these forces working together, they're going to engender growth. So we wanna make sure that we teach you, we show you how you could move from thriving to surviving and following the principles of development. So number one, we need to prepare you for leadership. Now, the reason why we use the word prepare, most of the young people between the age of 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, some of the people, and they're finding their footing. It's said among black people, and that doesn't always hold true, but it's part of the statistics that are going around. It said sometimes black people get to be 23, 24, not having decided on the profession they want. They don't know what they want. Okay? So it's very important for us to prepare you to go to the next level. They say when preparation meets an opportunity, the result is an explosion. When preparation meets an opportunity, the result is an explosion. So we want to prepare you, some of us, to do what you did. We went to varsity. Okay? I had to go to varsity to study and to be prepared to know things about life and to be taught and to how to calculate, how to write documents. So there's a form of preparation that you need, whether you're prepared at home or you're prepared at school, and there's many things that contribute to your preparation. So you need to get that preparation stage right. Now, later on in life, that principle of preparation that's going to help you to move from surviving to thriving is very important. Because for the simple reason is that somebody said something very important. Let me find the quote. He said, he says there's a difference. This is what he said. One lecturer from business school said something very profound that I love very much. This is what he said. He said there's a difference between playing to win and playing not to lose. Let me do that again. He said there's a difference between playing to win and playing not to lose. When you play not to lose, you play just to survive. When you play to win, you thrive. From the onset, which means your strategic intent, I don't know if you'll understand that language, your strategic intent, your strategic decisions that you make from the very onset, your outlook to life, you play to win. I've got to get this. Winning means I've got to get it this time, I've got to push it, it's going to happen. You're playing to win. Playing not to lose is just, I don't want to be a loser, I don't have to be a winner, I just have to be there. That's what we call surviving. Okay, so we don't want to do surviving, we want to do thriving. We want to make sure that we play to win. And I found out that there are people, for an example, now during the time of COVID, I've spoken to a lot of business executives and CEOs. Part of my function is to coach CEOs, is to coach business people. That's what I do for part of my job, and part of what outside of pastoring work is to coach people, coach business people, show them how to make business decisions and how to think and how to manage their entities, their business enterprise, what goes and how the next level of development. I found out that talking to CEOs and business leaders, there's one key component that is missing. Their organizations, they've never built them to be learning organizations, because learning, okay, they say learning is the Peter Drucker and other researchers, and who have come all the way, who have been organizational specialists, and who have telling us what organization will survive the VUCA world, the volatile environment, unstable, constantly changing, always changing environment, and unpredictable environment, is because organizations are willing to be agile, to learn, to transform, and to learn better things. So if you're in this organization, you and I, and we're running an organization, we never learn, we never gain knowledge, we will never be able to survive out there. So this was I found out as I talk about preparation. My last point of introduction is this, as I found out that other people and other corporate executives, as I talk to CEOs and other companies, have had to think hard because some due to loss of income, the money is not coming to them anymore. It's not coming the way they want it to come. They've had to rethink hard what other business avenues can we get involved in that can bring in money. Say it differently. They've had to ask themselves the question, what else can we do? How should we approach this? And they found out that they only now in COVID time have had to get the people to learn new technologies, new skills. But had they made it a strategic decision long time ago to run learning organizations, they would have learned things quickly. So we need to come to an environment. So as a young person, you need to find your place among a group of people who are willing to learning. You need to embrace the learning spirit, the learning mind. You're learning, you're forever innovating, learning new things, you're curious and everything. And by so doing, when you learn, you know how to try new technologies and do new things and learn other things. Okay, let's get to it. Let me talk about a few minutes on preparation. The word to prepare means many things. And I'm going to give you a couple of definitions of the word to prepare, so that because I pray that God prepares you to be a leader in the next 5 years, to be the next millionaire in the next 7 years, 10 years. I pray that everything comes right with you. Remember, it's forces working together. Your academic achievement, the chances that God gives you, your mind that is ready learning, may they work together to bring to a place of strength, of power, and success. Okay, the word prepare means is to provide properly for. That's what you prepare. To be prepared for is to provide properly for. How do you provide? You provide academically. You learn enough to be ready to face a situation. So to be clear, now let's deal with this this contestation. Let's deal with the thinking. Other people are saying education is not important. Other people are saying it is important. Well, there's pros and cons in both debates. Okay, there's pros and cons in both debates. There are uneducated people who are very successful. Don't get me wrong. They're very. Education is. I don't primarily, number one, link it to success. I link it to ability to think. Okay. So education doesn't necessarily be the one factor that decides whether you're a millionaire, billionaire, or you only operate in the hundreds of rand or thousands of rand. No. Before we get there, it teaches you how to think, how to structure your mind, how to formulate your debate, how to construct a discussion when you're facing people who need to fund you. Maybe you have a thought and you need to have venture capitalists funding you. Remember, when they do a funding plan, if you have an idea, whether you are a fintech or a SETech, an insurance tech, or whatever tech you follow, whatever technology you follow, the first thing venture capitalists, people who give out money, they look at who is running the company. They want to find out the qualities about the leader and about the owner of the company. If they find out that you are less to be trusted, they will not have put money in them. They need to find something that shows them you are serious with life. And sometimes the backdrop of school and education becomes a good provide and a basis for them to make that initial discussion, that initial decision. So number one, we need to be provide properly for. You need to at least learn. It's important. Test yourself. Put yourself through difficult paces. Attempt a 1-year course, attempt a 2-year course, attempt a 3-year degree or 4-year degree, and see you can start it and finish it. And prove to yourself, I can stay the course, I can do it, I've learned some lessons, I've submitted an assignment, they've sent it back for quality check, they've said it's not the level of quality we want. You need to learn lessons like that, because in the future, when you run a company, you're going to have to send back things of poor quality. You can't be associated with poor quality. You've got to make sure that you make up your mind. And how? We're moving from surviving to thriving. It's to provide carefully for. Number two is to foresee problems, to prepare. It's to foresee problems. Now, the word to foresee problems comes from the company of 3 words. We call it foresight, okay? To foresee problems. That's what prepare means. You foresee that, that could go wrong. I wanted to do, for an example, I wanted to do hair. Now, in the future, maybe they're going to have machines that cut people's hair. AI. That's what they call the fourth industrial revolution. Now, I believe hair will be cut by machines. They're going to set the machines, leave you in the machine, and the machine is going to do their job, and they're going to take the place of people's work. They're going to do that, AI. Let's say you do work now, you study now, but you didn't foresee that. We call it foresight. Foresight, ability to see in the future. Foresight is a cousin, is a sister to the word insight, and a brother called hindsight. Okay, so you use hindsight with insight to determine foresight. Let me do that again. You use hindsight with insight to determine foresight. So the foresight I need for me to plan, to look at the future, interpret the future now, and say, what could be the trends that look like in the future? Because you want to jump into the money in the future. You want to study something that's going to make money tomorrow. So may God give you the wisdom to know what foresight you need for you to see into the future, to see an opportunity yet unborn, a work yet undiscovered, for you to do great things in the future. So it's to foresee, it's to see in the future and see things. And you're going to make sure that you thrive. And good things are going to come your way. Good things are going to come your way. Third, number 3, what does it mean? Is to predispose a certain reaction, and to predispose a certain reaction. To say, if I were to say now, for an example, if I were to say to my friends or to real life, I'm starting a big company, who would support me? Predispose a reaction. Who would support me? Who would say yes, yeah? Who would say no when I when? You see, you start thinking about who would be for you, who will not be for you. What will be the kind of reaction? And you start planning for it. Okay, it's to rehearse ahead of time. That's what we call it. Now, that word rehearse ahead of time, and is consistent with the business thinking of this day. So this is what they do with business thinking, with what they call ideation and digitization strategy. If you're on a phone, digitalization, automation, and all kinds of fourth industrial revolution strategies. This is what they say, rehearse ahead of time. They say when you start business, you must remember the one principle. They say small wins lead to great gains. Let me do that again. They say small wins lead to great gains. What does that mean, Pastor? Small wins lead to great gains. They say you must come to a place when you have a business idea, test it with few people. Don't put all your money into your millions that you've borrowed into an idea and only to find that it doesn't work. Make an MVP, minimum viable product. That's what they say. Make an MVP, make it small product, and go test it with a few customers. If the market likes it, then you can produce mass. If they don't like it, at least you have lost 50,000. You have not lost 2 million. Have to start again with another 2 million. At least you lost 50,000. You're retaining 1,950,000. So you make a small MVP. And when people like it, of course, you make sure then you develop an IPO of it. You make sure you develop and you register it. You trademark it. It becomes your idea. Then you can be on your way to develop the rest after you have tested it. Okay? And so you understand that you rehearse ahead of time. You need to understand that in business world today, no business produces a big car without testing with a few customers. Look at the big car, all technology issues everywhere. Those that make cars, they make one car, give people to drive, people enjoy it, people comment, they like it, and they tick the box, they tick, they say they can start producing it. Because they have learned the hard way that you can put your money into one idea and that idea may not fly. My prayer for you, may you thrive and not survive. May you not play just not to lose. May you play to win. I wish you well. May God prepare you for your great days of your leadership. May you be the best that you can be. May God bless you, keep you in Jesus' name. Amen.